to Jay Sean.
Hello.
Brand new family member of Young Money.
Yeah, Cash Money.
Cash Money.
Cash Money, Young Money is the same thing. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually signed to Cash Money, and Young Money is signed to Cash Money. So it's pretty deep, yeah.
Well, now we had an opportunity to be first, have a front row seat to maybe actually donning you with your brand new chain.
He blessed me with it, man. He just blessed me with this. He was hinting towards it. He was like, "I got something for you, dog." And I'm like, "Yeah, what you got?" And then he was like, "You're gonna find out." And then just today he gave me this. This is incredible.
You were damn near speechless almost for a second.
Of course. I mean, when someone gives you any gift, it's a beautiful thing. Let alone something which says, "Welcome to the family." It's a big thing, man. I mean, this Cash Money family it's. When I say it's a family, I've witnessed with my own two eyes the way that they operate. Nobody penetrates it. They don't listen to anybody else's opinions because they know what they believe in, they know who they believe in, and they know what to do. And, you know, they have your back. And when they don you with something like this and they bless you with this, which says, "Welcome to our family," that's a very flattering thing, man. Plus the fact that it's black diamonds.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it looks good and it works well on you.
Thank you.
Now I can't help but notice that you're not of African American descent. Yeah. And some of the stuff that I've learned about you is that you're not new to the business either. You've actually had 2 albums out prior.
Sorry, I'm trying to. You know what? We should close this because you're not gonna
block out some of that sound. I see that you had 2 albums out. You've really been kind of doing your thing since 2004.
Yes. Look, at the end of the day, it's it's the things that are obvious about me are obvious. I don't talk about them much because they're so obvious. I'm British, clearly, my accent. I'm not black, clearly. So I don't need to scream that in people's faces. The one thing that I'm all about is my music.
Okay.
And that's what Cash Money was about. When they signed me, they didn't care about anything. They knew straight away that I wasn't, black and that I'm not American. But they didn't care about that because they were like, who says, where in the rule book does it say you have to be this in order to do this?
Right.
So, what I always focused on was to let the music do the talking, and ultimately we break all us human beings down. We're all the same.
Okay.
We're all the same, and that's what I love about it, is that the music's the one thing that brings us all together,
Okay, now you've got a huge following. You're a multi-platinum artist in the UK already, so you really don't need the following of the US because you've got the entire UK on your back already. And I also see that you were also nominated twice for Britain's MOBO Awards. That's the Music of Black Origin Awards. And you were nominated for that twice. So you're coming with nominations and with multi-platinum albums and everything already sold. So, why the U.S.?
Because this is, for me, is like, it's all about taking what I can to the max. I am not that person who can be a big fish in a small pond. I'm not that person who wants to stop and go, "I've done enough." Are you kidding? I've done enough? 7 years and you put out 2-3 albums. Well, like, there are legends out there who don't stop working. After 20 years, they're still grinding like they're unsigned. Okay. Who am I to tell myself that's enough? It's like, nah, man, I'm not that person. Me, I have one life, one opportunity, one goal. And my goal is to take this as far as I can take it. With God's blessings, I want to take this opportunity and this beautiful blessing that I have as far as I can until I'm too old or my voice breaks and I can't sing no more, or my leg breaks on stage and I can't walk no more. Whatever it is that I want to carry on doing what I can do and take it to the max.
Is it true that you started rapping when you were around 12?
I used to do rapping, beatboxing, producing, singing since I was very young, yeah. I mean, I was heavily influenced by a lot of the American hip-hop artists in, like, early 90s. I was, like, 10 years old, and I used to watch Ed Lover and Dr. Dre on Yo MTV Raps.
Okay.
And I used to watch all them videos, and I used to be fascinated by the way that they used to rap so fast. At that time, you had rappers like Big L, who were, their fast flows, and Jay-Z in Original Flavor was doing his fast thing, and Fushnikins and all that kind of stuff, and I used to be like, wow, how are they doing that? So, I used to, it just kind of got me,
Wow. So now the new album, tell me about the album. What angle are you coming from? Are you singing? Are you rapping?
Singing.
It's all
singing. The hip-hop thing for me was where it started in terms of the influence. My first introduction to black music was hip-hop. From there, I remember I started getting, like, maybe you had your Mary J. Blige's that I started getting into, and then Jodeci and, you know, Blackstreet, and then Joe, and Brian McKnight, and then it started getting a lot more soulful. Then I started going Glenn Lewis, Music Soul Child, and I started going towards that direction. But either way, whatever it was for me, I was just always in love with the soul element of this type of music. And there was no way I could remove myself from that. And that was the influence that I had. I love when I hear people, these artists sing the way that they do, when I hear Wanya from Boyz II Men sing the way he does, it does something to me. And that's what, you know, that's what I feel. And what I do in my songs is I take that influence and I try to tie in my songwriting style, which is a bit more pop, and I bring that in with the R&B way of singing. And that's what I've tried to do on this album.
Okay, so now you mentioned Wanya. You mentioned Wanya. You mentioned, you know, Jodeci and things like that. So do you have more of an old school R&B sound, or?
I don't want to know. Not necessarily. I like what you're saying though, because I don't forget the influences from the past. Because if I was to look at new, you know, singers nowadays, where do you think they got their influences from? We've all been influenced by the people we grew up with. And you know, I don't want to sing like you know, I look at I'm so inspired by the people of the past who had to sing because they had no other option. They had to get that song in one take. You know, your people from back in the day, if you really take it back in the day, the early 90s, 60s, maybe the 70s, they had to nail that in one go. When you're looking at Al Green and those guys, Marvin Gaye, they had to get that bang. You know, there was none of this auto-tune crap. It was just real singing.
Okay.
So I am inspired by that style of singing.
Okay, so now I'm looking at you, and you're totally packaged. I mean, you're looking good.
Thank you.
You know, just for style's sake, because everybody wants to know. You know, you're influenced by hip hop. You're you know, you're R&B singer. What are you wearing anything?
My whole vibe is this. Like I come from England, and you know, there we have a lot more of a European style. So I wear a lot of you know, I wear a lot of D&G, for example. I wear a lot of that Armani, Louis V right here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs to get their Louis V belt on. Creative Rex, I love these shoes and I cannot get enough of these. I mean, I have, God knows, hundreds of pairs of these.
Wow.
And I just love Creative Rex. So, I mean, I don't try to, you know, it's not necessarily a brand thing. For me, it's more a case of how it drops and how it looks, you know.
Okay.
And I would wear a pair of jeans that you know, from a local store with no name tag on it if it looked dope while I put it on, you know. I don't care about that. And it could be $10. I'll be like, great, it's brilliant. It's not necessarily about flossing, but you know, as long as it looks good and I feel comfortable in it.
Okay, so now who are some of the people that you had an opportunity to collaborate with musically as far as features on your album?
Well, definitely all of the Cash Money family are up on the album. But I've also got Sean Paul and Little John on the album.
Oh wow.
Sean Paul, huge fan. I just love Sean's delivery and his vocal and his tone. I've always been a big fan. And when he came up to me at the VMAs and was like, yo, I've been digging your stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's a big compliment because I'm a huge Sean Paul fan. And he was like, I want to do a record with you, and I was like, let's do this. 2 days later, I called him up. I said, I have the joint. What you saying? He was in Jamaica. I was sending it over to him. Bam, done. And Little John, of course, is Little John. You know what I'm saying? He put his hype on the record. He did his thing, and he brought that flavor. So it was great.
Wow. Well, very good. It's amazing when you are a fan and you find out that the person that you are a fan of is also a fan of yours.
Honestly, I don't know how to describe that feeling. It's and I want to stay a fan my whole life. I want to stay a fan of these people because I never want to get desensitized to that love of music, you know. I'm a fan of Wayne. I'm a fan of Baby. I see them every day. I talk to them every day, but I'm still a fan. And that's how I want to keep it. I want to always admire and look up to people that inspire me, you know, and not to lose that inspiration, because then who do you look up to, you know? And for me, it's important to have somebody to grab something from.
Well, very good. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.